Welcome to Super Showdowns, the ultimate destination for epic battles and legendary showdowns. Join us as we put iconic superheroes, villains, and mythological figures against each other in thrilling matches of strength, strategy, and skill. The sun hovered low over the horizon, casting an amber glow across the desolate ruins of Eastern Europe. What once stood as the industrial heart of a small border town in Ukraine was now a wasteland of collapsed smokestacks, shattered rail lines, and buildings ripped apart by an unseen force. The wind carried whispers of the past, and beneath the rubble, the echoes of conflict waited to rise again. Pyotr Nikolaevich Rasputin, known to the world as Colossus, stood at the edge of the devastated field. His towering frame gleamed in the golden light as his skin transitioned from flesh to metal. The transformation was smooth, practiced, his muscles rippling into organic steel. He clenched his fists and exhaled slowly. This land was home once, long before the world knew him as an X-Man. And now, it was a battlefield. He wasn't here to fight, not at first. He had come in response to a call for help, one laced with desperation. Whole communities were being leveled by a path of pure destruction. Villages crushed underfoot, tanks turned to scrap. Walls meant to stop armies had been reduced to dust. And at the heart of it all, the same name kept coming up. Juggernaut, Gain Marco, the human embodiment of unstoppable force, the avatar of the crimson gem of Cyttorak. Colossus knew the legend well. He had even fought Juggernaut before, always with backup, always with strategy. But this time was different. There was no team, no support. Just Pyotr, standing alone against a monster whose footsteps cracked the crust of the earth. The ground began to rumble, faint at first, like distant thunder. Birds scattered into the sky. Colossus turned toward the west, narrowing his eyes. A thick column of dust rose over the distant treetops. Trees snapped, stones leapt from the soil. The tremors intensified, rhythmically with terrifying consistency. Boom, boom, boom. He was coming. Colossus dropped into a battle stance, his metallic body gleaming like a living statue of war. His heart didn't race. He had trained it not to. But his soul was uneasy. There was a difference between facing evil and facing a force of nature. And then he saw him. Juggernaut burst through the tree line like a train with no brakes. Towering, massive, and covered in crimson armor, his body shimmered with mystical energy. His helmet glowed faintly, enchanted to resist mental attack. His eyes, burning pits of fury, locked on Colossus with a gaze of pure, unfiltered aggression. "Pyotr!" he bellowed, voice like a war drum. "I told Charles to keep his pets on a leash." Colossus didn't flinch. "You've gone too far, Cain. These people were innocents." "Innocents?" Juggernaut sneered, slowing to a halt mere meters away. "They tried to trap me, cage me like some animal. They brought this on themselves." "You left a crater where a school used to be," Pyotr snapped. "This ends now." Juggernaut cracked his neck. "Then come and end it."
Hey you, don't just watch. Subscribe please.
The two giants circled, each step carving trenches into the soil. Colossus could feel the tension rippling through his steel body. He studied Cain's movements, slight ticks in the shoulder, shifting footwork. Juggernaut was eager, overconfident. That could be used. But Juggernaut didn't wait for tactics. With a roar, he charged. The earth trembled. Colossus braced and pivoted, sidestepping at the last second and slamming his elbow into Cain's ribs. The sound was like metal striking an anvil. Juggernaut staggered, only slightly, but enough to give Pyotr a follow-up. He swung a mighty haymaker into Juggernaut's jaw, then followed with a spinning backfist. Juggernaut didn't budge. Instead, he grinned. "Nice try." With a surge of power, Cain grabbed Colossus by the torso and hurled him through a stone wall. The impact shattered the old bricks, and Pyotr tumbled through the debris like a cannonball. Dust and mortar clouded the air. Colossus stood wincing. He wasn't hurt yet, but Cain had only just started. He charged again, and the two titans collided with such force that a shockwave rolled out in all directions. Windows shattered miles away. Birds fell from the sky. The sound alone sent nearby animals into retreat. Colossus grappled with him, straining every muscle to slow the Juggernaut's charge. His boots dug trenches as he tried to anchor them both, metal straining against mystical might. "I will not let you destroy my home," Colossus growled, eyes burning with resolve. Cain chuckled. "You can't stop me, nobody can." Their struggle carried them through the ruins, smashing through abandoned structures and remnants of old factories. Juggernaut grabbed a steel beam the size of a small tree and swung it like a club. Colossus ducked, rolled, and countered with an uppercut that sent Cain crashing through a brick smokestack. Smoke rose. The air grew thick with dust and rage. For hours they battled, neither giving in. Each hit sent tremors, each crash left craters. Neither man spoke anymore. Their language was now fists and fury. But deep down, Colossus knew something had changed. This wasn't just a rampage. Juggernaut had purpose behind his violence. Something was fueling it. More than rage. More than chaos. And as the first stars appeared in the night sky, Colossus finally saw it. Behind Juggernaut, at the heart of the destruction, stood a single black monolith, pulsing with red veins, a shard of the crimson cosmos, a piece of Cyttorak's realm, anchored in earth, feeding Cain's strength, amplifying his fury. Pyotr's heart sank. Juggernaut wasn't just a man anymore, he was becoming a conduit. And unless Colossus could destroy the shard, Cain Marco would be more than unstoppable. He would become invincible. Smoke clung to the battlefield like a funeral shroud. Fires flickered from torn generators and scorched buildings, casting an infernal glow across the torn earth. Both giants stood, battered, bloodied, and breathing heavily. The steel beneath Colossus's skin was cracked and dented in places, glistening with oil like sweat. Juggernaut's armor was chipped, smeared with dust and crimson, but his eyes still burned like twin furnaces of rage. And behind him, the monolith pulsed brighter now. The shard of the crimson cosmos had begun to hum, vibrating in tune with Cain Marco's heartbeat. Each second it remained anchored to earth. It fed him, made him heavier, harder to injure, stronger. Colossus saw it. He knew what had to be done. As Juggernaut charged once more, Pyotr didn't meet him head-on. Instead, he vaulted off a fractured support beam, flipping through the air and landing with precision between Cain and the shard. Juggernaut skidded to a halt, confused for the first time. "What are you—" Pyotr roared and drove both fists into the base of the monolith. Crack! A tremor surged through the battlefield as the shard split slightly along its glowing veins. Energy screeched into the air like a wounded banshee. Cain screamed, staggering backward, clutching his head. "No," he thundered. "You don't touch that." Colossus pressed the attack. He hammered the shard again, then turned just in time to catch Juggernaut's shoulder, which collided with him like a boulder hurled by a god. Wham! Pyotr was airborne again, flung through a collapsed overpass. Chunks of rebar rained from above as he hit the ground with bone-shaking force. He groaned, struggling to rise, his arm momentarily refusing to move. His steel skin sparked as micro-fractures webbed down his side. Juggernaut emerged through the dust like a titan unleashed. "You don't understand what this is, Pyotr," Cain growled, his voice deeper, distorted. "This isn't just a boost, it's freedom. No more holding back, no more limits. I'm finally everything I was meant to be." He stomped toward Colossus, the ground crumbling with every step. The gem's influence was visible now. Red arcs of energy danced across Cain's armor. His muscles bulged unnaturally. The power of Cyttorak was near its peak. Colossus forced himself to stand. "If you truly believe that," he said through clenched teeth, "then I must stop you." And he ran. The two collided again with thunderous fury. This time, Cain wasn't trying to throw him. He was trying to grind him down, his massive fists swinging like wrecking balls. Colossus weaved, blocked, countered. He struck Juggernaut across the jaw, then kicked him square in the chest, pushing him back a few steps. It was a rhythm now. Strike, move, endure. Piotr was fighting like a warrior who knew he couldn't win by brute force, but maybe, just maybe, by endurance. Juggernaut grabbed a massive slab of concrete and brought it down like a guillotine. Colossus caught it, just barely, and twisted, using the slab as a makeshift shield to ram Cain back. The stone exploded between them, sending both titans flying in opposite directions. They rose again, slower now. Blood dripped from Cain's nose. Sparks flared from the cracks in Colossus' body. They charged once more. Fist met jaw. Elbow met ribs. Knee met steel. The rhythm collapsed into chaos. A flurry of strikes, roars of agony and defiance. Two giants driven by unbreakable wills, tearing the earth apart with every move. Finally, Cain caught Colossus mid-strike, lifted him overhead, and slammed him into the foundation of the old train station. The impact cracked Colossus's metallic form. He groaned, coughing blood. His transformation flickered for a second. Juggernaut staggered back, breathing hard. "I'll give you this, Piotr," he muttered. "You hit harder than anyone I've ever faced, but you're still just a man trying to hold back a tide." Colossus rose to his knees, defiant even in defeat. "Then you haven't faced the right man." But he didn't rise further. Juggernaut stepped forward slowly, limping now. He loomed over Piotr, breathing heavily. For a moment, silence fell. Then boom! With one final punch, Juggernaut struck Colossus in the chest, sending him crashing deep into the crater where the monolith once stood. Dust exploded into the air. Pyotr Rasputin lay still, breathing but unconscious. Broken, Juggernaut stood over him, swaying slightly. Blood dripped from his mouth, his arm trembled. That final blow had cost him, but it had been enough. He turned slowly, looking at the cracked shard of Cyttorak, still pulsing weakly behind him. The battle had drained him nearly dry, but he had won, barely.